Hey everyone, back again today with another tea video. Today I'm bringing you Year of the Rabbit 2023 Yiwu Raw Puer from Bitterleaf Teas. Unfortunately, they are all out of cakes of this at the time of me buying these. I think they have been for a while, but they still have some Dragon Balls available, even now. So if you end up wanting to pick those up, I'll link it below. Very good price on this tea for sure. So $3.50 for 3 Dragon Balls. They are 7 grams a pop, 21 grams total. The cakes are out. Maybe they'll come back into stock eventually, but $39 for a 357 gram cake. So really solid price in my opinion. I'll just read this for you, and then I'll start the tea. So if you want to skip ahead, feel free. A yearly standard in our Spring Puer collection, this daily drinker of a tea represents everything and a Yiwu tea should be, with a pleasant fragrance, soft character, and underlying sweetness. The overall quality of the character of this tea remains consistent year on year. However, each year's weather still puts its own stamp on things. For those who have picked up our Tiger Bull Rat or earlier pressings, this makes for a great vertical comparison to demonstrate how much of an impact weather can have on the results. With 2023 being an exceptionally dry year, this year's rabbit produces a soup that is full but still gentle. The body and texture are quite nice, and bitterness and astringency are kept very low. The initial sweetness leans more towards a sugary quality as well. Although 2020 Rat and 2021 Bull are experiencing a dry spring, this tea stands out as being more balanced. The flavor is dense and unique with much less bitterness, making it most similar to 2018 Dog, which up until now has been our favorite pressing. Our experience storing this tea over the last 10 plus years has been development of even more noticeable honey and fruit notes with 3 to 5 years. And then they talk about how they've tested for maximum EU residue, so they test for pesticides and whatnot, and in previous years, this year they didn't, but the leaves come from the same place they've previously tested at, so they're pretty confident that the leaves are still clean, but it's not tested. But there's what the cake looks like. I'll link this below, but it sounds really nice. And let me get a dry scent profile for you real quick. I'll just do it in the bag, just because that always seems to have a pretty concentrated smell. It smells nice. There's like a sweetness, an herbalness, kind of some floral notes. Yeah. Smells nice. Smells mild. Doesn't smell like sometimes I feel like these raw puers will have like a certain astringent smell to them, and I'm not getting that here. Meanwhile, I am still getting that floral and vegetal notes a bit. So let me get this out into a teapot. Alright, just to show you that tea ball real quick. I did spill a little water, so it's a little wet. But it looks good. It's very dense. So being 7 grams and looking so tiny, I guess I could see why. It is incredibly dense. But we're using this Yishin clay teapot. This is my raw puer dedicated one. I'll get that wash going at 212 Fahrenheit, basically instant, probably about 5 seconds. And then we will go with that first steep, probably just under boiling, maybe around 210. Actually, correction, I think I'm going to do that first steep since this is so densely packed. I'm going to do that first steep a little longer than normal. We'll go for like, I don't know, 20 seconds, maybe 30. I know some people with Dragon Balls will go a minute for that first steep, so yeah, we'll go for quite a bit longer. Alright, so here's the wash, already looking real nice. As I said, went about 20 seconds on that just to let the really densely packed Dragon Ball open up. And here's that first steep. Probably did about the same amount of time, honestly. Maybe like 5 seconds longer. Already getting quite a nice color on it though. Alright, let's look at these wet leaves and get a smell profile on the wet leaves. They tend to change quite a bit. So far, a really herbal, grassy scent. Bit of floral, bit of sweetness. I'm getting a slight astringent note now. Not too strong though. Something that I think is within expectations for a raw puer. Especially going with that floral note. They kind of go hand in hand. Very beautiful looking tea, like a nice bright golden. Reminds me of sunshine or something. Looks very clear, very clean, no residue. Yeah, looks great. Alright, let's give this a little taste. Very mellow. Definitely a full body. It's very mouth coating. And there's like a bit of sweetness on the back of the tongue and throat when it goes down, almost like a reminiscent of a white tea. Really nice. On the front, there's a bit of those vegetal notes, a bit of a straw-like or grass-like flavor. Very, very mellow though. Flavor in general is very mellow. And then that sweetness is really coming through strongly on the back of the tongue, like going down, and the aftertaste too. It definitely coats the mouth, and there's a bit of a astringent note that kind of balances out that sweetness and a little bit of that grassy taste. I think it's really nice. Let me try a second steep, see what more comes out. All right, here is that second steep. Definitely a deeper color now. Still a beautiful looking tea. Not too messy, not too cloudy. Nice dark, deep golden color, a little darker than before. All right, let's give this second steep a little taste. Yeah, it's a very mellow raw puer for sure. I do wonder what age would do to it, because as of now, it's so mellow. I don't think it can mellow anymore. Maybe more sweetness will start to come through, but there's almost no bitterness. Very minimal astringency. It's like a bit of floralness. That sweetness is probably the most predominant flavor. That and I think that grassiness I was talking about before is kind of calming down. So maybe as these progress, as the steeps progress, maybe the sweetness will come out more. But it's definitely an interesting raw puer. It's so far like another very different one, because I had the lady one from Yunnan sourcing that had like a predominant bitterness, and then the one I had after that was predominantly floral, and now this one's like predominantly sweet with like no bitter, and the floral's pretty much gone too. Definitely interesting. This one's more akin to white tea, I'd say. Reminds me of it's like a white tea with a tiny bit of edge to it, because there is just a little bit of astringency, but definitely interesting for sure. If you're interested, I'll link the Dragon Balls below, because that's all that's available now. But I think it's like 3 something for the Dragon Balls. So maybe if you're planning a big order from them, throw that in, get the little bit of extra grams in there. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this one. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more tea content. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Have you had this one before? All right, see ya.